Did you know that without the help of Cora Harper, the Andromeda Initiative likely would never have left the Milky Way? If you were ever curious to know the deeper story behind Cora's acceptance into the Initiative, you'll find it in the novel Mass Effect Andromeda Initiation. In this video, I'll tell you a bit about the book and then give recommendations on whether or not it's worth reading. For your convenience, this video is divided into chapters. The review section will contain spoilers for Initiation and some light spoilers for the Mass Effect trilogy and Andromeda, so watch with caution. Mass Effect Andromeda Initiation, written by N.K. Jemisin and Mac Walters, is the second tie-in novel and prequel to Mass Effect Andromeda. It tells the story of Cora Harper's beginnings with the Andromeda Initiative. The events in Initiation occur during the years 2184 and 2185, which is around the time that Mass Effect 2 takes place. It's set in the Milky Way galaxy and sees Cora visit star systems and locations that may stand out to Mass Effect players, such as Ilium. After a long deployment with an Asari commando unit as part of the Alliance's Valkyrie program, Cora is recommended to join Alec Ryder's team on the expedition to the Andromeda Galaxy. As a test of her abilities, Ryder sends Cora on a mission to retrieve technology that was stolen from the Andromeda Initiative. What ensues is an intriguing mystery that puts Cora through some harrowing situations. At the core of Initiation are some classic Mass Effect concepts, such as the ethics of artificial intelligence and the potential danger it poses to organics. Initiation is a fantastic novel and does a remarkable job of capturing the aesthetic of the Mass Effect games, particularly that of Mass Effect 1 and 2. It skillfully uses people, places, and events that have already existed in Mass Effect to motivate the introduction of new things. It's brilliant. Basically, if you're a Mass Effect fan, whether that's the trilogy or Andromeda, then there's a high likelihood that you'll enjoy reading Initiation. So, I highly recommend this book to anyone who loves Mass Effect. Even though I recommend Initiation for all Mass Effect fans, there are a few folks I imagine that would enjoy it more than others. Some obvious ones would be those who romanced Cora, or who otherwise really enjoyed her character in Andromeda. This book will certainly expand your appreciation for the character, and give more context to the stories she tells in the game. The other group who would enjoy Initiation is fans of the trilogy, even those who didn't particularly like Andromeda. Despite being a prequel to Andromeda, Initiation stands alone incredibly well. It almost fits in better with the trilogy, since there's a lot of thematic and atmospheric overlap, a large part of which results in its Milky Way setting. You don't need to have played Andromeda to enjoy Initiation, but having read the novel will definitely give players a greater appreciation of Cora Harper, Sam, and Alec Ryder. On the other hand, having played the trilogy certainly enhances the experience of reading Initiation, making it easier to catch all the references and understand more quickly the galactic politics involved in the story. That said, I imagine this book would still be entertaining for those who haven't played the trilogy. Cora Harper is a great choice for a main character. She has a compelling character arc in Initiation that provides much more depth to the version of her that we get to know in Mass Effect Andromeda. Cora begins the story kind of like a fish out of water. She has finally returned to human space after spending the last several years on Thessia with an Asari commando unit known as Taylon's Daughters, and she no longer feels at home amongst her own kind. While waiting for a connecting shuttle, she examines humans and other alien races, studying their mannerisms and comparing them against the Asari customs she's grown to know so well. She keeps humanity at arm's length, feeling frustrated at the relative immaturity and lack of grace compared to the Asari. But really, Cora hasn't ever felt at home anywhere. Throughout the book, she mentions her childhood growing up on her family's cargo freighter in the Attican Traverse. It was a struggle in many ways, close proximity being one of them. Cora remembers hiding in the dangerous confines of the ship just so she could have alone time. All of this contributes to a sense of isolation that Cora feels, which she eventually realizes she needs to come to terms with in order to find a real home and purpose. Early in the story, Cora admits to Alec Ryder that she hasn't really found a purpose. Being with Talon's daughters was something that kept Cora going, but the Asari huntress in charge of her training and her mentor, Nasira Takash, recommended that she join the Andromeda Initiative in hopes that she would find her purpose there. Nasira was right, of course, but it did take Cora a while to see why. One of the things that helped was finding a new mentor in Alec Ryder. Several chapters of Initiation are experienced through Alec Ryder's POV, and it makes me wish that we had more from him. Put another way, the amount Ryder appears in the novel is perfect, yet it calls to attention his lack of a presence in the series. This isn't a fault of Initiation, rather, it's just an unfortunate casualty of the troubled launch and reception of Mass Effect Andromeda. Alec Ryder's prominence in Andromeda's marketing built a certain expectation around the character, which was quickly extinguished at the beginning of the game. Initiation provides a glimpse into Ryder's mind and motivations, which offers intriguing takes on some of the concepts so vital to the core of Mass Effect, artificial intelligence being a big one. Moreover, it's just really entertaining reading about highly skilled individuals. Alec Ryder is a hard man, toughened by serious challenges and experiences. He's incredibly smart and quick-witted, which makes him really engaging to see in situations where he has to contend with people as headstrong as he is, like Cora or the Union politician. Another remarkable trait of Ryder's that Initiation showcases well is his willingness to see things from new perspectives. He frequently has his mind changed or is caught off guard by clever observations from Cora and Sam. Ryder is thorough, taking his time to think through all the possibilities of a given situation, and formulating plans or conclusions based on that thought process. This characteristic sometimes leaves him blind to perspectives that are obvious or simple, and they catch him off guard when he's presented with them. These moments are delightful when they occur, especially with Cora. It makes them feel like they are on a more equal playing field, despite Alec's many more years of expertise. Getting a deeper look into Alec Ryder's character, particularly how he handles Sam, was enlightening. It also gives us some more time with a character who feels like he deserves more of the spotlight than he was given. Speaking of, Sam is another cornerstone in Initiation's story. Sam, the AI developed by Alec Ryder, plays a vital role in Cora's mission, but it isn't the Sam you may know from Mass Effect Andromeda. Rather, Cora is paired with an experimental version of the AI that she nicknames Sammy. Sammy, and even the main Sam, are portrayed with excellent characterization that makes the AI feel truly alive, and like they are beings of their own. In my opinion, this is handled much better here in Initiation than in Mass Effect Andromeda, where the emotional complexities of Sam can be a bit too sterile. The relationship between Cora and Sammy offers intriguing commentary on the relationship between organic and synthetic life, demonstrating how the symbiosis of these life forms can lead to positive outcomes. The AI themes present in the story are really interesting and complex. Initiation does a terrific job of continuing ideas mentioned in the trilogy, such as the Geth and the Rogue VI, creating a strong thematic connection to the Mass Effect universe. However, the darker, negative possibilities are also explored in the chunk of the novel where Cora investigates the Alliance black site on Quiet Eddy. This, by the way, is one of my favorite parts of Initiation. Cora's investigation of the facility in Chapter 8 is suspenseful and creepy. It's very reminiscent of the side missions in Mass Effect 1, where Shepard checks out a quiet, eerie location and then has to face the terrors inside. The vibes are similar to the Luna Base Rogue VI mission, which is actually mentioned in the story. Chapter 9 takes things to a new level, turning into a straight horror story for a bit. Cora has to evade the grotesque, augmented human creatures. It reminds me of the segments of Resident Evil 2, where the player is constantly hunted by the Tyrant. This is a beautifully scary set of scenes that makes me want to see more horror-inspired stuff from Mass Effect in the future. I really like how Initiation plays with mysteries from the games, expanding upon them in such a way that doesn't reveal an answer, but gives more evidence or perspectives to consider. Cora's parentage is one example, but the most notable is the identity and motives of the mysterious benefactor from Mass Effect Andromeda. In Chapter 15, Cora meets Gian Garson, director of the Andromeda Initiative, and they discuss who could be behind the stolen SAM code and the attempts to release it to the public. Even Garson expressed some frustration at not being able to discover the identity of the culprit, who is far more powerful than Cora could imagine. It's an intriguing scene that enhances one of the most popular unsolved mysteries in the franchise. Initiation also does a beautiful job with the finer details. One that stands out is how the novel handles the use of biotics. It gives the reader an intimate sense of what using that ability feels like for the user. In this case, it's Cora. It's physically and mentally draining, especially on humans, but even Asari can get overwhelmed by significant usage. It gave me a new sense of appreciation and awe whenever biotics are used in-game. Another lovely detail about Initiation is that some chapters are preceded by a short news bulletin, intelligence report, or other in-world media. It reminds me of the news broadcasts that players can hear while exploring the Citadel. Sometimes, these 1- or 2-page pieces contain information vital to the story. Other times, they serve as additional flavor that adds to the world building or setting, making it easier to place this story on the Mass Effect timeline. I also have to mention that the scenes in Initiation that take place on Ilium are outstanding. Cora's experience of the planet feels so much like how it did playing Mass Effect 2 that it made me want to boot up the game just to walk around Nos Astra. Thanks for watching. If you end up checking out Initiation, please leave a comment to let me know what you think, and be sure to put appropriate spoiler warnings for your discussion. If you have any questions about the story or characters, comment below, and I'll try to answer them or get around to them in a future video. If you liked this video, be on the lookout for my coverage of the other Mass Effect novels and comic books. I also have several theory videos coming, so stay tuned. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.